But in the meantime, we got ourselves Protoss versus Protoss. Not just any Protoss, but two of the all-time greatest Protoss, as we have in the upper left-hand corner none other than the big boy himself, inventor of the Soul Train. If you can remember back to those days of StarCraft, it is PartinG. Also one of the best Twitch StarCraft streamers out there. Although he's going to be switching to YouTube soon. So you guys got to go subscribe to his YouTube. Which, I don't know what it is, but I believe in you guys. You can find it. Subscribe. His opponent in the lower right-hand corner today is, of course, the Chin Toss. Made it further in the most recent Premier tournament than any other Protoss. Definitely one of the best in the world. It is a classic. Presenting Twisted Minds. Actually, while you're over there subscribing to PartinG's YouTube, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube as well. You know, just go hit those subscribe buttons. PartinG, of course, he is a streamer based in Korea, and as Twitch is suspending streaming services in Korea because of some very kind of bad laws in Korea that have made Twitch pay a lot of money to provide services there. Twitch is suspending those services in Korea. So PartinG's going to have to switch to YouTube to continue streaming, and he's a very entertaining streamer. He's so fun to watch. It'll be sad that he's not going to be able to be on Twitch anymore, but at least we'll still have PartinG. And he has been looking very good. I'm just talking about this in the last match. But recently just beat Dark in the EPT Cup. I think he beat Beyond maybe a couple weeks ago. I feel like it was like Beyond or Gumiho. It was one of those Terrans where I was like, oh my god, that's a sick result for PartinG. And in general has just looked very, very strong. I think it was Beyond, because I'm pretty sure he beat Beyond and then lost to Clem in the next round. Which, you know, it happens to the best of them. Except Straya did also recently beat Clem. He's down fighting Dark right now in this bracket. We have a very sick bracket. Stoked to see Estrella playing. Stoked to see PartinG playing. Two very exciting Protoss. And Classic going to be cheeky here. Go for a couple of Adepts. Going to try to sneak in. There's actually no probe in the wall right now for PartinG. Which means these... Oh, there is a probe. I was hiding. Excuse me, I didn't see you there, sir. That is my mistake. The Adepts will continue to threaten. At the same time, on the other side of the map, PartinG is putting some pressure onto this pylon. Classic trying to hold on until these two Stalkers come out, but this pylon is getting very low. Ooh, as is that Sentry, and down it goes, and that's a great victory there for PartinG, but these two Adepts are going to finish up that Shade and come right back on over. Try to get on top of one of those Stalkers. It does get pulled back, though. PartinG pulls the other one back. Ooh, lots of micro going on here, but Classic is going to lose both of those Sentries and not get any of these Stalkers, at least not yet. The pylon will go down here as PartinG sticks around, and he gets the Stalker. PartinG, oh my god, he hasn't lost anything. This is insane. That's insane. He killed two Sentries, killed that Stalker, and killed the pylon. Okay, finally, Classic gets a little something there and gets a Stalker kill. PartinG still considering poking in right now. He's got to be careful, though. These Stalkers actually have more hit points overall than his do. And Classic's going to bring down Big Daddy Immortal, which will send these Stalkers packing. Ooh, this Stalker is low, and Classic wants it. He wants it. He's chasing it. At the same time, on the other side of the map, the Adepts are going to sneak in, but they're actually going to get caught by some units, I say, as he's actually going to go ahead and kill two Sentries. Oh. Ooh, he only gets one. Meanwhile, the Stalkers do make it home for PartinG, where they have a shield battery to help them out. Classic is, it looks like, considering putting some pressure on here. He's got the Warp Prism coming out. Slightly more than a consideration then. Of course, the Nexus is done for PartinG. It's not done for Classic, although PartinG knows that Classic has taken one. But now this Warp Prism could ferry these units into the main base and be very dangerous for PartinG. This one pylon feeling kind of vulnerable. Oh, and Classic, he's going to get the force field down in the main base. Is there a recall available? There is. We could see PartinG use that. He's going to go ahead and split some Stalkers off. Another force field goes down, trying to trap some of these units. The Prism is just going to rotate down now that that recall has been used. And I think there's still one more force field available. Oh, maybe not. Okay, the force field does not get thrown down. Probes have been pulled off the line to try to help buffer. This Prism is super low, and that's going to make it really hard for Classic to micro as the Stalkers dive forward. Oh, he picks it up. He gets the Immortal out of there. It's going to get a couple extra shots off. It even gets picked up again. The blink forward, though, as PartinG's blink finishes up. Down goes the Prism with the Immortal, and PartinG will clean all of that up, somehow only losing 4 probes during all of that. Those probes were pulled for like 100 years, which puts him still ahead in workers. And because he was mining on that base earlier, yes, that was a big swing in Classic's favor, but look at how much it actually is. It's still in favor of PartinG. After all of that, he still barely loses anything. Now he's just going to blink on top of this Immortal. The Prism picks it up, but the Prism goes down. Oh my god, he picked it up! And right as the Prism went down, I don't think it would have mattered anyways, but PartinG gets the victory. Wow, that's some clean micro, man. That is insane. Even from the very beginning with those first few Stalkers, somehow just gaining huge value with those 4 Stalkers, not taking any losses for the longest time. And then somehow holding on there with the force field on the ramp. He recalled, and there was the potential for another force field, but the probes getting pulled stopped the sentry from being able to get in position to drop that force field. It was just perfectly played by PartinG. He was able to get out of his main base somehow and get on top of those units, pushing that Prism and the Immortal back further and further, somehow only losing 4 probes. And then the moment Blink was done, the Prism and the Immortal were both dead. Everything died for Classic. I mean, insane micro there at PartinG, and that's kind of what we expect from him, man. It's so cool to see him back and playing this well straight out of the gate, back from his military service. This has got to be some of the best performance we've seen within less than a month since he's been out of military. It's crazy. And here he is again, spawning in the upper left-hand corner of Oceanborn. It is PartinG. Looking godly against, again, one of the best Protosses in the world right now. This is like, he's not looking great against like a decent player. This is Classic. Classic is, he's a monster, man. Like, this is a guy that can win tournaments. Again, at DreamHack Atlanta, Classic was the only Protoss to make it to the round of 8. It was Classic, not Hero. I mean, MaxPax wasn't there. But it was our boy Classic. He made it the furthest. And he's shown very consistently excellent results, especially in those big tournaments. I do think Classic does better in big tournaments than in things like weeklies. But still, extremely tough opponent here for PartinG to honestly take down in such impressive fashion. So sick. But this is PvP. Things can get kind of wild. We're not seeing any proxies so far. Just probes being harassed. Oh, wait a minute. This is Classic's pylon. I didn't even notice that. Classic got the cheeky pylon block on the probe, trapping a probe in here. And this is going to be a lot of lost mining time for PartinG. It's a whole probe not mining this whole time. Plus, any other probes that go to this patch are taking very inefficient paths here. So PartinG is mining quite poorly right now. As we see, just this pylon being here is just going to be an advantage for Classic. I love this. You don't see this very often. I think players have gotten pretty good at defending it and like paying attention to it, but PartinG, again, this is one of the things about not being around for a while, is stuff like this might get by you. Classic was on it with that pylon. Look how annoying this is. My god. Finally, a Stalker pops out for PartinG. This is something specifically that Gerald has been really good at for a while, is trapping probes in this little mineral thing here. I've seen him get 3 probes trapped in there. I've also seen Gerald trap a probe with his probe in there, and because he gets the first hit off and no other probes can help, he just kills the probe and then cancels the pylon. It's actually like the sickest thing in the world. Some sick gameplay. Ooh, PartinG's out here with 1 Stalker, and he's going to get caught a little bit. And it looks like that 1 Stalker is going to get quite low before the other 2 are able to save it. As Classic is going heavy on the Adepts. It looks like he's going for the 8 Adept. He's going to try to catch this Stalker. Stalker turns around at the last second. PartinG kills his own Stalker. He says, I don't need that Stalker, actually. But I think he needs that Stalker. I don't know about you guys. Adepts will finish that Shade. PartinG. Ooh, getting a little aggressive with this Stalker. He does have 2 more here. But he's got to be careful. I feel like he knows that there's more Adepts coming across the map. And there's no shield battery for this Stalker to get back to, so it's going to go down as well. This does mean that Classic's not really going to be able to break through this wall at all. I love that the Sentry is helping out from the high ground. The Adept's going to finish that Shade, but with 2 more Stalkers warping in, they will get pushed out. Classic continuing to warp in Adepts. It's actually crazy. Okay. He's already lost 5. He still has these 3, plus the 2 more that got warped in. So the Adepts, obviously, if they're able to bust through, if they're able to get into the base, they can get a ton of probe damage done. We've already seen some great micro from Classic, although technically PartinG has traded better. So, you know, it's still relatively even trades. The problem for Classic is that Adepts generally don't scale well later on in the game. Ooh, they're going to finish that Shade, though. They're going to be able to get both of those Sentries. 4 Adepts, 1 shots a Sentry. Great warp in here from PartinG, though. Going to body block those Adepts and keep these probes safe. 1 probe, not even 1 probe went down. That's so crazy. Maybe one of those probes was from right now. But only 1 Adept gets out of there. Classic suddenly has traded pretty significantly worse. I mean, it's pretty early in the game. 200 resources, not the biggest deal in the world, but again, Adepts don't scale super well later on. So Classic is now just way behind on Blink Tech, way behind on a Stalker count. He's making up for it with Immortals, but obviously Immortals do have some downfalls. They don't micro quite as well as Blink Stalkers. This is so nice for Classic, though. He saw no shield battery here, and he's like, I'm just going to target down a couple of workers, pull this army back, and the Adept shades out again. I don't even know where it went. There it is. Somehow gets back out of there after getting 2 more probe kills. Now Classic is getting his Twilight Council. He's got +1 on the way, which PartinG does not have. PartinG does have Blink, but ooh, loses a Stalker there, getting a little bit too fresh with those Stalkers, trying to get some damage done. We do see Classic is taking the army supply lead. And while some of that certainly is, you know, tied up in this Adept that's on its way out, Classic seems very safe. I like this move from PartinG, just taking the 3rd, but we've got 2 more Adepts coming in here, and these Adepts are going to be able to get in. A Blink forward from the Stalker, another Stalker warping in, but this is definitely going to be a couple of dead probes. 3 already going down. It looks like that'll be 4, maybe even a 5th one here, as this Adept is just doing a great job not dying for a while. So Classic getting some good damage, taking a worker lead. His 3rd base is a little bit later than his opponent's, but with that worker lead, he should be able to make up for it in the income. Already we've seen Classic has been mining more this whole game, even from that first pylon. Look at that. Crazy. PartinG, I think he must have seen this War Prism. I don't know if he saw it with the pylon. He knows it's here, though, and he's got Blink Stalkers, which means this War Prism is dead. Whoop. Whoop. He got it. Just barely, though. That Prism almost got out of there. Classic. Good Prism micro there. The Adepts, at least, will be able to escape to harass another day. This pylon for parting really coming in handy. Classic he spotted it, so I guess, yeah, the Prism must have seen it. But we've entered a more passive state of the game. We do have +1 on the way for parting now. Again, he is almost a full upgrade behind his opponent. Those 2 Adepts are going to make their way in here. The probes are pulled to fight, but ooh, already going to be some damage. Just 2 probes, not too bad. Charge is on the way here for parting. He's got a bunch of gates finishing up, as well as that Templar Archives. Classic is getting into charge. Does he have blink? No blink here for Classic, so if he gets that, it's going to be next on the menu. In the meantime, both players just kind of heading the same direction for the most part. Again, that big difference is the blink from parting versus just the heavy immortal count here for Classic. He's got 4 immortals. Those can be very powerful, although the higher the Zealot and Archon count gets, the less impactful those are. Parting's going to move out, and he's going to run to this army. I do not think he expected to see that army there. Well, he wants to get the kill on this Observer. He wants it, but the Immortals come out first, and they say, no siree. Now Parting is dancing with it a little bit. His charge is about to finish, but +2 is about to finish for Classic. It's a beautiful timing for him. Stalker's going to hit on the backside. They want to get a kill on this Prism, and I think they will get a kill on the Prism. They're going to die for it. Ooh, but some beautiful force fields from Classic, and he is going to clean up a lot of those Blink Stalkers. I think that might have still been worth it for Parting, though, because killing that Prism is huge. Obviously, losing those Stalkers is painful, though. The rest of them are going to come back up and join with this army. We see Classic has a big army supply lead, and again, that upgrade lead, +2 started here for Parting, but that's not going to be finished for a long time. Parting trying to get his own Immortals out now. He's got 1. He's grabbing a second one. What is this? What? I saw Classic check this base, and I was like, oh, there's no 4th base for him to check. I didn't even see this one, and neither did Classic. Parting just recalled probes to it, too, which is so cute. And Classic just has no idea. I mean, this is not that far away of a base, but it is a hidden base right now that might make Classic a little bit more passive in this fight. However, as I say that, he decides to dive up the ramp. Guardian Shield's getting popped. Classic trying to separate out these bases a little bit and goad Parting into fighting. Now, Parting is going to go for this. Zealots at the front, kind of chewing through this army of Classic. I feel like Classic's a little too split. He's got a lot of Zealots on the left-hand side here. He's killing a ton of probes. Is it gonna be worth it? I think the answer is yes. That +2 with all of these Immortals, it's just gonna be too much. And Parting, even with the hidden base, just can't quite compete in the big army. And Classic takes game 2. He's gonna take the macro game over Parting and bring us to a nice little game 3. What a good series so far, though. Some sick moves back and forth. Classic sitting up in his chair after game 1. Got to make sure he counter micros against Parting. I love that pylon move. I didn't realize that Gerald had did that against Hero Marine. That's funny. I don't think I've seen anybody do it against a Terran. But I kind of dig it. It's a really good pylon block. I know Gerald's been doing it for years. I feel like every now and then he doesn't do it for a while, just so that when he does it again, he can surprise the player. It's such a sick move. Just a cheeky early game thing to do with that probe. It's undoubtedly going to harass the opponent. But let's get into game 3 here. We are on Alcyone, and spawning in the upper right-hand corner, we have none other than the big boy, Parting. And his opponent. In the lower left, it is the Chin Toss for Twisted Minds Classic. Probe's going to meet in the middle of the map. A little kissy-kissy as they run by each other. I assume PartinG will be paying attention to try to not let the pylon block go down. Let's see if Classic goes for it again. Nope. Not going to let him do it. It's funny. It'd be funny if PartinG did it on the other side of the map. Ooh, PartinG's probe is very low. Down it goes. Down it goes, PartinG. Already off to a bad start in this game, losing one probe. Losing a probe to a probe. No proxies, even on this map. Even on Alcyone, we have no proxies. Little surprising. Somebody was saying they haven't seen PartinG go for like a one base though. So I guess PartinG's just been on the macro train. That is definitely, it's the more European style of play. So I wonder if PartinG's been studying his max packs. Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me at all. Before his military service, PartinG was like the only player to use the max packs build in like a big tournament. He used it in a GSL way back in the day. So I think PartinG really, like, he pays attention to the good Protoss builds all around. Oh, it was a good start for Classic though, as PartinG tries to move up that ramp. Stalker's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to have to try to escape. Should be able to get out of there. Might take a little more damage on the Stalker. No, it doesn't quite get there. But Classic, well, he has nothing against a good one base all in. And in this case, it's going to be the Classic build, the 3-gate Robo. This has been extremely popular in Korean PvP. I can only imagine that PartinG has run into his fair share of these builds. But now he's got to defend on 2 bases, and he didn't get that scout. The Stalkers did not make it up the ramp. He doesn't really know what he's going up against right now. Classic's going to drop the pylon. We'll see if this Phoenix is able to get the full scout. If it had gone through the middle, it would have seen this Vorp Prism. Instead, it's going to take the long route to find this info. And it's going to be late when PartinG gets the confirmation that this is coming. I like these Stalkers trying to body block the Prism. He does have some force field energy here as well as a shield battery. Classic, though, is just going to dive in. Force fields go down a little bit late. Good target fire here from Classic. Going to take down a couple of these Stalkers immediately. Sentry's not really doing all that much damage. Probe's getting pulled. The super shield battery turns on. But it's enough Stalkers now to one-shot Sentries and even to just two-shot these Stalkers through the shield battery. And I think Classic is just going to take this one, as there's no units left for PartinG. PartinG not expecting the 3-gate Robo out of his opponent, and Classic secures the victory. PartinG with a 1-0 start. We thought we might see him in the semifinals today, but Classic says, not today, sir. Not today. Not yet. I will not relinquish my title as top 3 Protoss in the world just yet. He takes him out. GG.